Hello and welcome to A Cup of Grace and Lori. I'm Grace.
And I'm Lori.
In today's episode, we thought that we'd discuss something that Lori mentioned to me in person recently. She emailed me and she told me about a personal breakthrough of hers. So I thought that maybe that would be an interesting topic for us to talk about today in this episode. So, Lori, did you want to give some context and details
I
as to what
will,
that
yes.
personal breakthrough was?
Well, one of my resolutions for 2023 is to expand my network and I think I started this back in 2022 actually to, become more part of more groups, find my tribe, that type of thing.
Hmm.
So I had this, oh, I know what happened. Um, a friend of mine that used to work or that still works at a company I worked at 12
Hmm.
years ago contacted me on LinkedIn and just was checking in, how am I doing? And I was like, oh my God, that's 12 years ago that I worked at a company. And I was so pleased to hear from her. And I responded right away. And she said, oh, give me your number and we can have a phone call. And we had a
Hmm.
great call, um,
Hmm.
catching up. She still works there. And anyway, we're gonna meet for coffee or lunch down at Kensington Market when she's downtown Toronto next time. So it was just wonderful to hear from her. And
Hmm.
so I had this idea. I thought, well, instead of waiting for people to contact me after 12 years, why why do that as well? Because sometimes I wait for people to contact me, right? Instead of, I'm like, wait a sec, I can be the one contacting other people. And what a
Hmm.
nice surprise to hear from
Hmm.
someone after such a long time. So I started going through my LinkedIn and even my Facebook because there's a lot of friends on there that I haven't talked to even just online in years.
Yeah.
I obviously we became Facebook friends through either work or going to school or through meetup groups, people I met at meetup. But I haven't talked to them in maybe 5, 6, 7, maybe more years.
Hmm.
So I started, mining my social media groups. And I decided, if there was someone that I had wanted to contact or that I had thought about, and for some reason in the past, I maybe felt reluctant to, and I know
Hmm.
why. I mean, I wasn't feeling confident before. I was heavier, and it wasn't just that I was heavier. There was a number of factors. I wasn't feeling confident. So
Okay,
there
so I
were,
have a question for you.
oh, sure, go ahead.
Did the friend that you hadn't seen or spoken to in 12 years,
Yes.
did do you know why she decided to reach out to you
You
after
know,
all this
I
time? Did she say
didn't even
anything
ask
when you
her.
when you spoke with her
I didn't
recently?
even ask her that. That's funny. I'll ask her in person when I see her in person. That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna ask her what made you think of me or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Grace.
Okay, so you don't
But
know.
no, I
All
didn't
right.
ask her that. I just was really happy to hear from her because we were friends when we worked there. And so I guess if anybody asked me why I'm, reaching out to them, and I think I wrote this in a couple of my emails that I sent to people. I said, my goal is to expand my network this year and also to, support my existing friends and network, right? Like I have a big
Hmm.
network of contacts and
Hmm.
friends and whatever, especially on LinkedIn. I have a huge network. And I'm like, I'm not even, I'm not even getting in touch with them. Like instead of saying, oh, I want to expand my network, why don't I actually get in touch with my existing network, whether it be on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever else, right? Instagram,
Yeah.
wherever, right?
Hmm.
Instead of
Yeah.
rush, I'm like, hold on a second, wait, I'm jumping ahead of the cart here. I can be getting in touch with my existing network, right? As well
Mhm.
as expanding my network. I want to do that as well. So that was, yeah, that was the brainwave I had. And it was a lot of fun. It was last weekend. I sent out a bunch of emails to people I have, some people even from high school, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness.
I know they're gonna think, is she crazy? Is she a nutcase or whatever? And
No, they'll probably be happy to, hear from
they
you.
may or may not. And again, I don't know, like so, I know sometimes in the past when some people have reached out to me after several years, I haven't responded. And that was because I wasn't feeling that great at the time. So I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I was like, oh God, I don't want to see them. I've gained so much weight, or, or my circumstances have changed. I'm not, I was going to school, I had quit my job, whatever, a number of things, right? So there were a few people that reached out to me after several years, and I
Mhm.
didn't respond to them. That was before, right? So I understand that not everybody's going to respond to me, right? Depending on
Mhm.
where they are in their life journey. I did hear
Yeah.
back from some people though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so one friend who we met in grade 6, yeah. And
Oh my
then
goodness.
we have been in touch, well,
Off
no,
and
there
on.
was off and on, except for there was a huge gap, like from my my teens to my 40s, that I wasn't in touch with her. And
Mhm.
then through LinkedIn or Facebook or one of them, we got in touch and we have seen each other. But I hadn't actually been in touch with her for 2 years, and a lot has happened
That's
in
not
her
too
life.
long. Mhm.
It's not too long, I guess, over the pandemic. But
Mhm.
anyway, when I emailed her and I said, oh, how are you doing? And she had a lot of news to tell me, which was great to hear.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to get together for lunch, maybe in the early spring. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
And yeah, so that's good. And then trying to think who else there were. Oh yeah, funny. I reached out to someone else, a couple people on Facebook, and then funny enough, I heard from someone on Facebook who I hadn't heard from in probably 3 years. I mean, I'm not to say I hadn't seen her posts, because I've seen her updates on Facebook posts. She and I
Mhm.
haven't actually, chatted, so to speak,
Mhm.
in at least 3, maybe 4 years. So she reached out to me about some other, oh, she wanted to know how I'd lost weight, and to tell
Okay.
her all about that. So that was great to hear from her. So it was kind of reciprocal. It was like I was reaching out to others, and in the meantime, some people reached out to me, or one at least. So I'm still hoping to hear from more people. As I said, I know some people don't check, like especially LinkedIn. Not everybody has their notifications on, including me. I mean, I think I turned them on last week, but I don't always have my notifications on. So I sometimes have to
Mm.
log in before I see who's messaged me. So it's possible other people have done the same thing. So I'm still hopeful that I hear back from more of the people that I contacted. Although it doesn't really matter. The point was more that I actually reached out to them. Whether they want to, contact me back or not, that's their choice. But it was
Yeah.
like I was putting that energy out, that I wanted to connect with my existing friends.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so that was the energy I was putting out to the universe. And
Mhm.
hey, I will
Taking
update
initiative.
you. Yeah, I'll update you and let you know if I hear from anybody else. I would be thrilled, because there were some people that, I was like, oh, I'd love to hear from them. Actually, everybody I emailed, I was like, I'd love to hear from them. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And I may even contact more. Actually, I probably will. Because what do you think? I mean, what would you be happy to hear from someone after a long time, or would you think, oh my God, so much has changed, and we we've lost touch and I'm not interested, or what do you think, Grace?
I would, if it was someone that I hadn't heard from, yeah, like in more than a decade or something, I definitely be surprised.
Yeah,
That would probably be one of my initial reactions.
yeah,
In terms of meeting again, for example,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
It
See, because
depends on the
when
person.
you told me, yes, because when you told me about this incident where, yeah, someone from your past had contacted you, and then I thought about this myself, and also I took note of what you said. You said that you're trying to expand your network, but it's also about you not being afraid to contact people because you felt more secure in
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
So that was what was holding you back in the past from
yes,
reaching out to older friends.
yeah,
And so that got me thinking. And I thought, well, in my case, it's for me, I would hesitate in meeting someone from the past because I feel like I've changed.
oh yes, so have I.
I feel like, well, yes, you have changed. You
Yeah,
definitely, for the better, right?
yeah,
Your
I think
energy
so.
is much more different.
Yeah,
And
but
for
you
me,
don't
I
think
feel,
you've changed for the better?
I think I have changed for the better, and but in a way where we might not have anything in common, or we might not have much in common anymore. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, it's also about, there is some I don't know, some, I don't know what the word is, insecurity or doubt about, because the path that I'm on now, because I am on this healing path,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really preoccupied with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I don't know how people will respond to that,
But
you know? So
one
like I
thing,
feel like so maybe it's also partially fear of judgment,
yeah.
like because they won't get it because I'm kind of woo woo. I'm proud of
Oh,
being woo woo,
I'm very
but
woo woo. I've
not.
always been
I
woo
know with
woo.
you, of course, you and I
Yeah,
are both woo woo.
yeah.
But I don't know how other people, previous to my getting into all this woo woo stuff, they would respond. So,
Okay.
yeah. And also,
Yeah.
again, like with my trying to heal myself, a lot of that has to do with releasing the past,
Okay.
releasing certain energies.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would much rather just look forward,
Okay.
move forwards. I mean, there will be exceptions. There,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, there, I can think of one person that, from the past who, if he reached out to me, then I'm sure that I would be more than happy to get together. But it's actually because even in the past, like we had really good conversations, and
Okay.
I happen to know he's kind of spiritual anyway.
Oh,
So, I'd be open to that,
okay.
getting
Good.
together in the present.
Okay.
But yeah, for other people, I don't know, because I
Let
just feel
me
like maybe, yeah, like we might not even have much in common anymore.
let me ask you this. If you've changed, is it possible they've changed?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes,
Is it also possible that they're on a healing path or a spiritual path?
it is possible.
It is, right?
Hmm.
So here's the way I look at it. I mean, if if you're meant to meet them, then you don't really need to worry so much about, and I'm saying this from my perspective because I thought about, oh, what if they think this about me or that, or I haven't, I mean, I haven't led a traditional life by any means, right? But then who has really, I mean, what is a traditional life? I mean, right?
I
Anyway,
can give you an idea.
whatever. Um, but it's like, well, they won't respond. So you don't really need to worry. it's like if we're on the same vibe, right, they'll respond. And if we're not, they won't. So you don't need to worry if, oh, are they going to understand me? Are they going to get me or whatever? This is the way I thought about it. I thought, I'm going to send the energy out. And if
Hmm.
they respond, we're a match, right? And I
Okay,
mean a
that's a very
match
good
of
attitude.
friendship, right? If they don't, then the universe doesn't feel where our energies are matched. And I've got
Okay, I
nothing to
have
lose.
something else to say though,
Sure.
because I mean, I don't know if Mercury retrograde is over now.
It's over, but you know what? Even it, I think it ended on the 18th, but there's they call it a shadow period before and after
Yes.
Mercury retrograde.
I
So
wonder if that is part of the influence as well. You know, during this time, people also get nostalgic,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. And I think I mentioned to you in private. I heard from a few people from the past.
yes,
This
you
is what
did.
happens
Yes,
during
yes,
Mercury retrograde. People
yes.
just get nostalgic,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's about, yeah. Sometimes it's about sewing up things from the past or dealing with issues
Meaning
from the past,
closure, finding closure.
closure, or even like even if it's work, it's like going back and fixing, getting some old work repaired. It could be something around your house, getting old stuff done during Mercury retrograde to allow the new to come in after when Mercury goes direct, right? So it,
Mhm.
yeah, Mercury retrograde is about dealing with outstanding issues, whatever,
Mm,
in whatever
mhm,
sector of your life, right?
mhm.
So yeah, you're right. And we do, we often hear from people we haven't heard from during Mercury retrograde. But
Yeah,
as I
but
said,
that isn't necessarily because you're put like we don't always hear from people that we necessarily want to hear from,
that's fine. Then you know what? If for some reason we hear
and
from
vice
someone
versa. You know, we could reach out to
and
someone and maybe they
you
don't want to hear
feel
from us.
there's maybe some trauma or some whatever trauma I'm going to say, or very negative energy around that person, then for sure I wouldn't be eager to respond either. But you and I are both in a very positive space. Our energy is pretty up and positive, right? So it's like you don't tend
Sometimes.
to sometimes you don't
I don't
tend
I don't want to idealize it and make it seem like it's like unrealistic because we all fluctuate. We're not always, you know, top tier vibrationally, okay? We
true.
fluctuate even throughout the day. We can have
Oh, for
annoyances.
oh,
We can feel
absolutely
dark.
throughout the day
We
for
can
sure.
feel sad. We can feel joyful. It fluctuates.
Okay. I guess mine
Okay,
doesn't
but
fluctuate.
percentage wise,
Mine doesn't fluctuate that much, but I agree that certain times of the day I'm not quite as pumped. And but anyway, but the point is my average energy is still up here, whereas at sometimes it be in the years below it was down here. So
hmm
my average energy is still way up here, even though it
hmm
might fluctuate during the day or whatever.
hmm
So as I said, I'm convinced that if I'm if they don't like my vibe, or if they think I'm crazy for contacting them, or like, that's fine. Then they won't respond, and that's fine because it means we're not a match. But if they think it's cool and they respond, then great. Then that's great. So yeah, it's a bit risky, and I've been afraid of these risks before. Believe me, I have, because I haven't really done this. I've waited for people to contact me after several years, and then I may or may not have responded, depending on who the person was, or how I felt right at the
hmm
time.
hmm
So this is new for me. This isn't something I've really done before. So
That's
um,
why it's a personal breakthrough.
yeah, exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone, for tuning in this week. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave us a comment. Would you want to hear from someone after 10, 15, 20 years? On the other hand, do you reach out to people after that length of time? Otherwise, have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.